Maynard. Now, Mrs Maynard has taken over the leadership of maths, along with Mrs O'Kane and myself, in the school. So that's why she's doing the presentation this morning. She's had lots of really good ideas that she's helped us with, and I hope that you're going to be excited about maths this morning.
Brilliant, thank you. It was interesting, as Miss Dickinson was talking, as soon as she said you're going to be taking part in maths, so many faces went. And I think that fits in really nicely with what I'm going to talk about. That actually, maths is something that makes a lot of us go, oh dear, maths. And we often have that perception, I can't do maths. So that's what we really want to sort of take apart a little bit. And so we're really building children's confidence that maths is something that everybody can do. So I shall click on. This is, I did an assembly for the children, and I showed this picture as they came in, and so much discussion started about all sorts of things. Is everything as straightforward as it looks? They were fascinated with this. And of course I'd thought of the boring adult things like, oh, maybe this is a model finger with real size scissors on something. And then somebody in year 2 put their hand up and said, maybe the finger is, maybe one of them is far away and one of them is close. And I thought, wow, I hadn't thought about that. And then before we knew it, there was this discussion about perspective going on, just in an assembly amongst all the children, about how you see things. And again, that links into maths, that there may not be an answer. I didn't give them an answer. I didn't say which bits are models and which bits are the actual size, because it didn't really matter. It was the idea that they started thinking that there was maybe another way of looking at things. And that's what we want to encourage them to be able to do in maths. I then asked this question: if a toy car isn't played with, is it still a toy? So this is sort of deep philosophy for a Monday morning for the children in assembly. But again, their answers were incredible. Half of them said yes straight away, and half of them went no. And as soon as they realised there were different answers, and we got answers from different groups, children started saying, oh, actually, I hadn't thought of it like that. And it started again a discussion about at what point does something stop having the potential to be a toy and actually become a toy, and what's the difference between a model and a toy, and if something's in a collection, does that make it a model and not a toy? And these were sort of year 1s and year 2s joining in as comfortably as year 5s and year 6s. And throughout the school there was this sort of buzz about thinking and seeing something differently. And that really is what links into the maths that we're looking at. So what is the New Look Maths? Well, the most important thing, first of all, is about changing the culture of maths. We want to get children buzzing about it. We don't want them to do the face that you all did when we said you're going to do some maths. And I think that this might sound quite a tall order, but actually through the process that we're doing in maths at the moment, children are already really becoming very engrossed and talking about it a lot. I did a challenge with them in assembly, and children have come up to me, still come up to me now going, I've been thinking about that maths challenge, Mrs Maynard, and actually I think you can do it this way. And that's what we want, because when we use maths in our everyday life, we use it in a real life context. I personally don't ever sit at home and just add things up for the sake of it, and I'm sure you don't either. We only ever use our maths when we need to, but we need to a lot. So we want children to see that maths is an exciting, vital, interesting, relevant subject that isn't about sitting, working through an exercise. That's probably how we all did maths at school. So the culture of maths has really started changing already. One of the most significant changes is about making maths topic-based. We're really good in this school of linking our curriculum so that you may be doing a history topic, but it's linked with your art and with your literacy and all of those things. But maths can often be sidelined. It's like we're doing all this amazing creative stuff, and then we go to maths and we sit and work things out. And, sorry, some of you getting really hot. Shall we open the heater? making it topic-based, so that our maths topic sometimes will link to the other topics that we're doing in school, a history or a geography topic, but sometimes will just be an entire standalone topic in itself. So, for example, already in Year 2, they've done an exciting topic on Star Wars. Year 6, their maths is all about the Commonwealth Games. There's Taj Mahal maths linked with the India topic going on in Year 4. There's Ice Palace maths. There's all sorts of maths already being topic linked. And children buy into that. They have an ownership of it when maths is like that. Even I did a mini unit last year about preparing for Will and Kate to have their baby, and it was only 3 days of maths, but I had children sorting through the Argos catalogue, because obviously Will and Kate use the Argos catalogue. Don't look flippant with their money. So, but order, you know, what were they ordering? They had a budget and they had to sort prices, and it became relevant. And they had to decorate the nursery with the biggest perimeter of a room that they could, because they had so many family portraits to put up. But the children really enjoyed feeling that there's a purpose for it, and it makes it viable, it makes it exciting for them, and they come into maths thinking, oh, I'm carrying on with that topic, not, oh right, I've got to start something new. And in the pupil voice that I've done, I've spoken to children from every year in the school, and that's what they've said they like. They actually really like getting stuck into something and being able to follow it through, becoming resilient in maths, so that they don't see something new and think, oh, I haven't got a clue what this is, and oh, help, I'm stuck. But they really develop that resilience. So by having a topic-based maths unit, we're hoping that it will really instill that sort of confidence and enthusiasm and link with that buzz that we want to have. Encouraging thinking skills is really crucial. One of the key strands of maths is using and applying maths. And actually, the weighting towards that is vast. That really, maths is about being used and being applied. And it's the difference between, using a literacy example, children may be able to sing the ABC song really well, but if they can't apply that and read with it, it's nothing more than a song. And so it's the same process with maths, that we want children to be able to use and apply their maths. So we're looking at giving children choices. How are they going to answer a question? In its simplest form, it's the difference between saying to children, what is 2 plus 4, to which there's only one answer. We've told them what calculation we want them to use to solve that problem, and once they've done it, there's not really very much more you can do with that. Or saying to children, how can you make 6? To which there are many, many answers that could actually be quite complex. They can use tables, they can use division, they can use decimals, they can use fractions, they could use all sorts of different math skills. It could be a shape question or an angles question. They can come up with the questions. So it's really opening maths up to children, rather than giving them this fixed, this is what we want you to do, and you work through it. And traditionally, as I said, maybe you will identify with that sort of maths. That's what I certainly did at school. It's like, here is a page of maths to work through. But there was only ever one answer to every question. And similarly, word problems, even then, we often are saying to children, well, a tin of beans costs 20p and the lollipop costs 7p, how much do they make altogether? Children see through that very quickly and go, oh, that's 20 plus 7. And we want to be able to, when we go shopping, we have a budget, we have to make choices, you have to subtract and add and decide, I want to buy some of those. And you're actually doing complex calculations all the time. Your maths isn't just one set question. You don't go to the shopping list and go, I will buy this, this and this, and I will add it up, because obviously it might go over budget and you have to adjust. So that's a much more realistic way of looking at maths. So we want to present and offer maths to children with this open questioning. How could you do this? What do you know already? What could you use? What does this look like? What do you think about this? What does this make you think of? What does this remind you of? And that's where they key into it. So really, this encouraging thinking skills is really, really critical. I saw a lovely lesson in Year 4 yesterday when they were looking at quadrilaterals, but rather than just naming lots of quadrilaterals and shapes, they had all different shapes that they had to put together to make a variety of quadrilaterals and then try and match them to a set perimeter, which is a much more interesting way of learning about quadrilaterals than just having some and naming them. So it really is, it's not different content of maths, it's just looking at it in a different perspective. The final big change that we're making is using a 3-week cycle of maths. So all of our maths units are going to be taught in 3-week cycles. Now the reason for this is that it allows for very swift analysis and assessment of where the children are on a regular basis so that new and really tight targets can be set. The maths curriculum used to be organised very much that you had sort of autumn term, week 1, number, week 2, place value. But does that mean then that you don't go back and do place value or number or addition for another term? And actually the answer was yes, that could be how the curriculum was written. You could do division once in a term and then not go back to it for the following term because that's where it was in the curriculum. So in doing this sort of topic maths, we're actually picking strands. So you'll do some shapes, some calculations, some number work in every unit of maths. So the coverage of the maths curriculum is still there, and the teachers are very tightly checking off all of the strands of the curriculum and ensuring that the coverage is in place. But we're able to revisit things much more frequently. And obviously, there are more important areas of the maths curriculum. Calculation and number really are the key focus. And if we can use those in a practical way, children's calculation and number skills will really improve. So by doing this 3-week cycle, the children are being exposed to a maths content and able to be pushed on that little bit more each time. We're directing the teaching to a group, at a group level, so that children are being taught at the sub-level above where they're currently at. So they'll be taught the new skills, and then their opportunities to rehearse those skills are there for this 3-week cycle. At the end of that, the teacher can assess, well, how are they doing? Like, it's only been 3 weeks. I'm not doing an end of term or end of half term unit. They can look at where they are and set targets, knowing that those targets will be targeted in the next 3-week cycle. So actually the follow-on is much, much quicker, if that makes sense. They'll be going straight back into doing not the same maths, but addition is addition, whether you're adding in class R or year 6, but that you will be going into it and following on and developing and using it much more frequently. One of the other things that's important is that maths content is not just about learning more. It's not about saying, well, you can count to 10, okay, well, the next step is to count to 20. It's about changing the sophistication of the challenge for the children up to 10, if that makes sense. So that, as going back to the ABC song, that you could say my child knows their alphabet because they can sing the ABC song. But if they can't use it, if they can't read with it, it doesn't actually mean they understand what A means. It's just a word in a song to them or a sound. And it's only when a child makes that link between a visual image and a sound, and then goes, oh, hang on, I can put these together, and then, oh, I can read, but that it makes sense. So assuming that a child can count to 10 and understands what that means, and then say, right, well, let's just go to 20 and 100 and 1,000. It's the same process. They may not inherently understand the concept of 10 and number. So we want to make sure that those sorts of things are really embedded by extending the sophistication of the challenge that the children are offered, rather than just increasingly giving them new content. So that's the thinking with the maths. This is the very dry bit. This is the new national curriculum. This comes into place in 2014, but has now been approved, so it will go through. And I'm just going to read this to you because I think it will make sense linking with what I've been saying. Mathematics is a creative and highly interconnected discipline that has been developed over centuries, providing a solution to some of the history's most intriguing problems. It's essential to everyday life, critical to science, technology and engineering, and necessary in most forms of employment. A high-quality maths education therefore provides a foundation for understanding the world, the ability to reason mathematically, and a sense of enjoyment and curiosity about the subject. And that's the thing, it's not people going, maths, it's a sense of enjoyment and curiosity that we're looking through. And I think if you see, hopefully you'll see some of the things that are going on in the class, that children, that fear is being taken away, because actually it's all right to look at things, find different answers, and go, oh, hang on, what if, what if I turn it round this way? What if I lay it out in a different way? What if? And that is how their mathematical interest and learning is then developed. The aims of the national curriculum, which again, this is absolutely what we're trying to embed, to become fluent in the fundamentals of mathematics, including through varied and frequent practice with increasingly complex problems over time, so that pupils have conceptual understanding. So that's what I'm saying, really understand what 10 is, what is 6, and are able to recall and apply their knowledge rapidly and accurately to problems. Reason mathematically by following a line of inquiry, conjecturing relationships and generalisations, and developing an argument, justification or proof using mathematical language. And the final aim is they can solve problems by applying their mathematics to a variety of routine and non-routine problems with increasing sophistication, including breaking down problems into a series of simpler steps and persevering. And perseverance is crucial to this. And at some point, and we anticipate this, in these early stages, some of the children are going, I can't do this, I can't do this. No. And we have to get past that. We all feel that in various aspects of our life, that fear, but you have to persevere, and that's what we want to teach the children to do. So as I said, this isn't happy bedside reading, enjoyable, fluffy stuff, but it shows you that actually what we're trying to do is the bedrock of what is at the heart of the national curriculum, and we're really trying to embed that fluency, problem solving, and this ability to monitor progress and challenge children with sophisticated questioning. So the process that we will be going through starts with a medium-term plan, so the teachers will plan an area, a topic to cover the 3 weeks. So that could be this Great British Bake Off or Star Wars, whatever their theme is, linked to a topic or not. And at that stage, they map out, well, what strands of maths am I going to use in this? So, and use a variety, some shapes, some spatial awareness, angles, data, as well as number and calculation. Map out a rough route through it and an outcome. Obviously the outcome can change. From my experience, children are much better at coming up with outcomes than any teacher ever is. You often start a unit and a child says, how about, and you think, oh gosh, that's a fantastic idea, why didn't I think of that? So you suddenly go off in a completely different direction and end up with something different. But that's the beauty of this, that the children actually start taking real ownership for it and come up with suggestions because they're really impassioned by it. So after there's the medium-term plan, the teachers then draw from that and do a more detailed short-term plan with the daily detail. This will be for the teacher and the TA to use, so that the activities, but also the sub-levels, so the 3As or 4Cs that your child is working at in their group, that will be really specifically targeted, so that we know that we are teaching to the ability of your children, but also with a view to extending them, so we know what those next steps are. After that, we also will have an overview of the class grouping. Now these change because children do have different strengths. Some children are amazing with spatial awareness and shapes and less confident with calculation, or the other way around. And we're aware of that. So it's the ability to not just say, well, your child is in this group and will stay in that group, but the ability to move along the spectrum. That it's looking at maths as a continuum, and we are all heading towards the next step, the next goal together. So having this overview of class grouping means that we can see very closely that this child is in this group, and I can look at the plan and see that that group are working on this activity at this sub-level, and it all ties up together. And then it makes the assessment, which is the next bit, that every group will have... Oh, that's funny. The next group will have its key assessment sheet. Oh, slow. It's going to zip through about 17 now I've done that. They will have key assessment sheet. So for every activity, there is an assessment sheet, which will say very clearly what the activity is, what the sub-level is, and which children are in that group. So any adult working with that group will then be able to mark against that how the children are progressing. Are they confident? Are they not confident? Do they need to go through that again? Which enables the teacher to sort of pull those children who need that little bit extra and say, right, okay, I've got this child, that child and this child. Now, within this 3-week cycle, I need to grab them and give another little input so we can get them over this hurdle. And it's such a tight way of looking at our maths. This then leads to an overall assessment, not through testing, but through doing one of these sort of using and applying activities. The children can apply all that they've learned over the 3 weeks, make choices, and we can then assess how are they doing, which will feed back into new targets being set for the next 3-week cycle, for the next medium-term plan. So it all links through quite cohesively. What stays the same, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. There is still lots of excellent practice that's been taking place in the school. Everything else. We will still be using photos to be able to see what the children are doing. It's very hard sometimes as a teacher to see everything that's going on, but if you take lots of photos, you can go back and see at your own pace what was going on, what are the children doing, and it's a good recording of what they were doing as well and how they were doing it. So we will still be using photos. We'll still be using games. Games are a fantastic way for children to learn all sorts of things. That you'd be amazed what you can do with a couple of packs of cards, some dice and some dominoes. There is so much maths in those sorts of things, but also other games as well. That's always happened in school, so that won't stop. It's a great learning opportunity. Questioning. I've done some input with the TAs about questioning, that actually children learn best if they are just given a forum and an opportunity to learn in. And this is where you as parents can really help. We sometimes struggle seeing our children learning, and you're busy doing dinner and you just want to go, right, it's 14. And then I have children, I do that as well. But it's about being able to say to them, well, how? How could you do it? What do you know about that? And if so, I don't like this question. Well, what question would you like? What would be easier? Why would that be easier? What if I did this? How about if we changed that? And although they might look at you and sort of, what's happened? Hopefully, they'll be used to hearing that sort of language at school, because that's how we talk to them in maths. Children will learn if you ask them those questions. If you tell them something, they're learning nothing, because they're just being told. It won't really enter into their understanding. So questioning is really crucial. The displays, I hope you will notice, the displays are much more interactive and inviting children to have a go at challenges. So there's a lot of things that's still going on. Using these stunning starters, launching topics with cakes or whatever else it is that the teachers are doing. It gets children really into a topic and they really enjoy it. So just linking back to the culture, very quickly. We want to be a problem-solving school and really embrace challenge and thinking skills in all areas. You'll notice that started going up around the school. Some teachers have stuck little puzzles and problems around, and children are starting to go up and have a go and scribble on them and see if they can solve them and sign their name. And that's the sort of ethos, that's the feel. When you come in, you're going to be challenged, it's going to be exciting, and actually there's more than one answer, and it doesn't matter if you haven't got an answer. You can start solving it, maybe someone else can come in and carry on solving it. So Puzzle Corner is something we really want to sort of extend around the school, and we're going to move them every week so that children, you know, if they're used to going to one area of the school but not so much another, they'll find different challenges in different areas. But really, I think that's the thing, it's making sure that our culture is absolutely one of problem solving, that there's a buzz and an excitement about maths. This I will whip through very quickly, because I realise you've been sitting a long time and everyone's very hot. But basically, in these first 3 weeks, we have designed new planning sheets, we've had a maths assembly for the children, I've met with the TAs, I've done pupil voice with Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 1 children, I've met with all of the staff to see what support they want, we've done maths news to the staff, helping them navigate useful websites that are really good for problem solving. I've been on a maths specialist teacher training course, which was actually run by the lady who chaired the committee for writing the new maths curriculum. So it's about as hot off the press as you can get, information-wise. We are in the inset day on the 21st of December. All of the staff are going to see and observe leading maths teachers throughout West Sussex, and Miss Dickinson and I are going to meet with a teacher in Worthing, a head teacher in Worthing, who has overhauled maths in his school. We've walked around, we've done observations of teaching, planning, learning, the learning environment. So we've been quite busy in 3 weeks. And the next steps, really, this is sort of what we want to do. Establish and embed, really embed maths investigations. We're starting it, but it's really embedding it. Provide training and support on the use of models and images. That's all this equipment, and it's very easy to think, and I urge you as parents to use equipment as well, it's very easy to think that equipment is what you use lower down the school when you're not very confident in maths, you're just starting, and as you get further up the school you do sort of proper maths, you don't need it, and that's absolutely not true. This supports maths learning and what I said about the concepts really, really clearly. If you were doing a subtraction problem, you could see very clearly that that is 432. Now, if I needed to take 175 off that, now some children might be able to write the method beautifully, but when you say, well, why did you cross out that number? Then, oh, I don't know, as Mrs. Maynard said, that's what you do. And they don't actually understand that if I was to take off, I could swap this 10 for 10 ones, put them in, and then they can see very visually what it means to be subtracting, what it means to be exchanging a 10 for 10 ones. It's a really useful visual, and this, in year 5 and 6, when you're doing long division, those of you who've got children use it, chunking, the dreaded chunking method of long division, this is perfect because it's all about groups of 10 and groups of 100. If you haven't got there yet, you will. And, and it makes a lot of people go, oh. I know the first time I taught it, I thought, I'm not sure I really get this. And this would make it so clear, because you can see exactly what you're doing and how the numbers are made up. So if your child wants to use models and images, let them, because it will help their deep comprehension of what a number is really be developed. So we're going to make sure that is really embedded across Key Stage 2 as well as in Key Stage 1. And this I've referred to establishing, it already is well established in early years in Key Stage 1, the concepts of number. But just to, it's worth putting in to make sure that we're really embedding that, so that, because that's the bedrock of what they move on to in Key Stage 2. Ensuring the use of models and images, offering this deeper sophistication of challenge. So it's not just about saying, well, we're going to teach you new stuff, but we're going to challenge you on what you already know to make sure you really do know what you already know before we move you on. And crucially, to ensure that less able children continue to receive quality, directed and well-resourced support throughout the school. We've actually found, since teaching like this, and where this sort of style of teaching, which is incidentally this model that we're using, Ofsted really like it, the local authority really like it, it works, it is a tried and tested thing, it's not something that we've just dreamt up, it is an established way of teaching maths that is recognised, heartily approved of. But it's about making sure as well that less able children continue to receive that support to keep moving them on as well and narrow the gap between the higher achieving and the lower achieving children with that support. And finally, I wanted to leave on this because a man would do nothing if he waited until he could do it so well that no one could find fault. This is not going to happen overnight. This is not, we're not suddenly going to find we're sort of suddenly featured on some programme called Britain's Most Amazing Mathematicians or something like that. It's a start, it's small steps, and we're all learning. All the staff are learning, the children are learning to do it a new way. This is new for you as well. But we will get there, but we want to give it a go. That's the idea. We're going to give it a go, we're going to go for it because we know it works. We know that it's what is looked for. We know that it increases confidence for the children, which is really our priority, this confidence and fluency in maths. And that's why we really believe in doing maths this way. So I hope that as you go around the school, you will see the sort of, maybe the first buds of where we want to go, but it is starting in the school, and the children are responding really positively to it. And with your encouragement, and with you being alongside, and us all singing from the same hymn sheet, so to speak, we can really move forward with this. So I hope you enjoy the maths that you see in school. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Maynard, very much indeed for that. Yes, we have seen a change in the children already. The children really are engrossed in what they're doing. Mrs. O'Kane and myself and Mrs. Maynard have been into all the classes over the last 3-4 weeks, and we've watched the children learn, and we've looked at their books, and they really are engrossed now in what they're doing, and their thinking is changing. They're thinking about how they're setting out their work, they're thinking about what they've got to do, and they're really taking on board this approach. So, as Mrs. Maynard said, it is the first buds of what we're doing, but it's a really important first stage, and we hope that you're going to be able to help your child, because we've now already sent out our second maths news sheet. You should have received the second one. The only class that won't have received it is Year 3, because Mrs. Mullis is ill at the moment, but every other class has sent out their second maths news sheet that tells you the topic your child's class is studying, and some suggestions for how you can help. And we're doing that in every 3-week cycle, so that you will know what the children are doing and how you can help at home. And we really hope that you'll take part in this, because we are getting really excited about it. It's hard work. The teachers are working really hard, and it is hard work, but we're beginning to see the change. And if you were in assembly not last Friday, the Friday before, you may have seen me with a visitor, and that visitor was an HMI, Her Majesty's Inspector, who had come as a follow-up to Ofsted. We knew that we would get a visit this term from an HMI, and he had come in to see what start we had made in improving our maths. And he went round all the classes and looked at the children's learning, he looked at what we put into place, and he was really pleased with what we had done already in the last, it was 3 weeks, we were 3 weeks into term. We started it last term, we started thinking about this as soon as Ofsted had left us, because we knew we needed to do something. And the HMI came in, and he was really pleased about what he'd seen. You will get a letter in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. We're waiting for his letter to come at the moment to say, to say what he's seen and how, what improvements we've made, and we'll be sending that out to parents once it arrives. But the initial thought of what he said was, you're on the right track, it's coming together, you're on the right track, keep going. And we're really pleased to have that sort of validation of what we're doing. And as Mrs Maynard said, Ofsted like this approach. This is what they're saying. The government are now saying this is what we've got to do in maths across the country. And then we had our own validation from our HMI, so you know we're really pleased to be on the right track. Of course, children can't do this problem-solving approach without the having the skills that underpin it. And what we're going to give you, and you can either take a pack today, or you can wait for it to be parent-mailed, because we're going to do that. Is we're going to give you a pack that actually gives how addition and subtraction and multiplication and division are taught across the school. So this one I'm holding up at the moment is reception, and then it's got year 2 as well, and it's got year 1 in it. So we've put it together. We've put R1 and 2 together, so that if your child is in year 2, they may still be working at year 1 objectives, or if your child's in year 1, they may be working at some of year 2 objectives. So we've put them together, and you'll see that for each sheet, you've got how addition and subtraction is taught, and how multiplication and division is taught. So we thought that this would help you. We've done packs right through the school. We've got 4 has got some 3s in, so you've got it spread across. You haven't just got your class, so you can see what comes before and what is going to come after. Now you can either take a pack today with you, I'm not sure, I hope we've got enough, we've done about 50 I think, or you can wait for it to be parent-mailed if you prefer that. But our next workshop will be on some of this calculation skills, because we know that that's what you want as well. But if you like to take this today, it will really help you to see how that is taught, and then you can help your child. So instead of just saying, as Mrs Maynard said, oh it's 14, you can actually help them to work it out. Because those skills are really important, because the children can't do this problem-solving approach if they don't know how to work out the calculation quickly. You know, if they've got to spend a long time thinking, how do I divide this? Then, you know, the problem just falls apart. The other thing that we've done is we've taken the mental calculations out of the main maths lesson of the day, and the children are having 20 minutes just of mental calculations separately across out of the day, so they're doing 20 minutes. And in Key Stage 2, sorry, I just need to sit down, I've got a very bad back, so forgive me for sitting down. In Key Stage 2, years 3 and 4 are working together in groups, and 5 and 6 are working together in groups, so that we can really extend the children's mental calculations. So your help is, you know, if you're in the car, help the children to, you know their number bonds to 20, or know their multiplication tables, and just give them, you know, lots of practice, because they need that mental calculation. And that's one of the things that we're really trying to help the children with. So thank you very much. I'm not quite sure what the time is.
It's just 10 to.
Oh, it's just right. The teachers are expecting you at this moment, so that will be just right. So if you want a pack, please do, and then make your way to your child's class.